With one thunderous blow on the plains of Pharsalus, Julius Caesar shattered the last bastion of Pompey's resistance. As the smoke cleared and legions dispersed, Caesar refused to bask in victory. He set his gaze on the eastern horizon, vowing to hunt down his fleeing rival and bring Rome's civil war to a swift, decisive end. Meanwhile, Ptolemaic Egypt teetered on the edge of crisis. Cleopatra VII, recently ousted from power, and her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, were locked in a contentious struggle that divided the kingdom's court. Despite the internal strife, the wealth of the Nile and the kingdom's strategic location made Egypt a vital ally, or a tempting prize, for any Roman seeking regional dominance. Pompey, hoping to regroup and secure political leverage, set his sights on Alexandria. Yet his arrival collided with the rising tensions between Cleopatra's supporters and those loyal to Ptolemy XIII. In this fraught atmosphere, Caesar's pursuit of Pompey would soon intertwine with Egypt's own civil discord, altering the fate of both realms. In the aftermath of his triumph at Pharsalus in August 48 BCE, Julius Caesar wasted no time pursuing his vanquished rival, Pompey the Great. Anticipating that Pompey might seek refuge among Rome's client states in the east, Caesar set sail across the Aegean, determined to end the civil war swiftly. Pompey, hoping to rebuild his strength and secure a political alliance, chose Egypt, once friendly to him in previous conflicts, as his destination. Arriving on Egyptian shores in late 48 BCE, Pompey was met not by the warm welcome he expected, but by a cold, calculated betrayal. Acting on orders from King Ptolemy XIII's closest advisors, eager to curry favor with Caesar, Egyptian officials lured Pompey ashore and assassinated him. Only days later, Caesar disembarked in Alexandria and received the grim news. His one-time ally, now mortal enemy, had been murdered without a trial. Outraged by this breach of Roman dignity, Caesar announced his intention to remain in Egypt as a mediator. His arrival in Alexandria would soon place him at the center of a simmering power struggle between the young Ptolemy XIII and his exiled sister, Cleopatra VII, setting the stage for one of history's most fateful encounters. By late 48 BCE, tensions within the Ptolemaic court in Alexandria were at a boiling point. King Ptolemy XIII, heavily influenced by his advisors, had exiled his co-ruler and sister, Cleopatra VII, in a bid to secure uncontested power. With Julius Caesar now in Egypt, Cleopatra seized a daring chance to reclaim her throne. According to later accounts, she arranged to be smuggled into the royal palace, famously hidden in a rug or sack, so she could meet Caesar face to face without alerting her enemies. This bold strategy underscored Cleopatra's political acumen. By appealing directly to Caesar, she outflanked her brother's inner circle and gained the support of Rome's most powerful general. Cleopatra understood that Caesar's favor could tip the balance of power in her favor. From their first meeting, she impressed him with her intelligence and command of languages, painting herself as the rightful ruler who could ensure stability and fulfill Rome's interests. Already angered by Pompey's murder at the hands of Ptolemy XIII's advisors, Caesar saw an opportunity to mediate and assert Roman authority over Egypt's affairs. He demanded that Ptolemy XIII share power with Cleopatra, as prescribed by their father's will. The king's advisors, however, regarded Caesar's intervention as an intolerable threat to their influence. Fearing that Caesar would install Cleopatra as sole ruler, Ptolemy XIII's forces, likely numbering around 20,000 men, significantly outmatching Caesar's contingent of roughly 4,000 Roman troops, began to encircle the palace district. Thus began the protracted Siege of Alexandria, which extended into early 47 BCE. For Caesar, Alexandria's narrow streets and tight quarters both hindered and helped his men. While it was difficult to maneuver large forces, the urban setting neutralized some of the Egyptians' numerical superiority. The Romans, holed up near the docks and royal palace, faced shortages of supplies and constant harassment by local militias loyal to Ptolemy XIII. Nonetheless, Cleopatra's allies provided critical support from within the city, supplying Caesar's troops with provisions and intelligence on enemy movements. As the siege wore on, fighting spilled into various corridors of the city. In one decisive struggle near the harbor, Caesar ordered ships burned to prevent the Egyptian fleet from blockading his position at sea. The flames spread uncontrollably, damaging sections of the city's renowned library of Alexandria. Though the extent of the destruction remains a matter of historical debate, ancient sources lament the loss of many works, highlighting the cultural cost of warfare. By early 47 BCE, Caesar received critical reinforcements from allies in the eastern Mediterranean, emboldening him to break out of Alexandria and confront Ptolemy XIII's army near the Nile Delta. In the ensuing battle, Ptolemy XIII's forces faltered under Roman discipline and Cleopatra's resurgent faction. Attempting to flee by boat, the young king drowned in the river, an ignominious end that marked Cleopatra's triumph. With her brother's death, Cleopatra reclaimed the throne with Caesar's backing. The outcome of the Egyptian civil war not only reshaped Ptolemaic rule, but also bound Egypt's fate more closely to Rome's rising star. By early 47 BCE, with the Alexandrian War concluded and Cleopatra VII reinstated on the throne, Egypt stood at a cultural crossroads. Despite recent turmoil, Alexandria retained its position as a leading Hellenistic metropolis, blending Greek, Egyptian, and Eastern influences. Scholars remained active in specialized institutions, while merchants traded goods from Arabia, Nubia, and beyond. Following her brother's defeat, Cleopatra swiftly consolidated power. She underscored her legitimacy through traditional Egyptian rites, identifying herself with the goddess Isis, and upheld Greek-style ceremonies to placate Alexandria's influential elites. With Caesar's backing, she secured authority across the Nile Delta, ensuring local administrators recognized her sovereignty. By balancing Greek and Egyptian institutions, Cleopatra presented herself as a unifying force in a fractured kingdom. Even Roman accounts praised Cleopatra's intelligence. She carefully projected an image of a cosmopolitan ruler adept in diplomacy, inviting Roman collaboration without surrendering her own prestige. Rumors that her alliance with Caesar went beyond politics only heightened her influence, placing her at the heart of Mediterranean power dynamics. For Caesar, involvement in Egypt served dual aims: securing vital grain supplies and bolstering his status as a statesman. His victory extended Rome's reach into a region long prized for its wealth. Though Egypt remained nominally independent, it grew increasingly reliant on Caesar's favor, foreshadowing deeper entanglements between Rome and the Ptolemaic throne. Strengthened by Caesar's victory, Cleopatra quickly consolidated her reign. By early 47 BCE, she and her younger brother, Ptolemy XIV, were nominally co-rulers, yet real power lay firmly in her hands. Caesar's continued presence signaled Rome's growing influence, but it also helped Cleopatra stabilize the kingdom. Local officials pledged loyalty, and resistance dissipated as the new regime promised both Egyptian tradition and Roman support. To showcase this unity, Cleopatra invited Caesar on a lavish voyage along the Nile. More than a simple tour, the expedition paraded Egypt's prosperity and cultural heritage. Priests performed sacred rites, regional leaders reaffirmed allegiance, and Roman officers observed a realm steeped in wealth. For Cleopatra, it was an opportunity to assert her stature. For Caesar, it revealed Egypt's vital role in his broader ambitions. Late in 47 BCE, Cleopatra gave birth to a son widely called Caesarion. Whether the Roman general formally acknowledged him remains debated. Yet the child's symbolic value was immense. Egyptians saw divine favor in the melding of two powerful bloodlines, while Romans whispered about Caesar's foreign entanglements. Ultimately, this dynastic link drew Rome and Egypt closer than ever, laying foundations for both a celebrated partnership and a looming political reckoning in the wider Mediterranean world. Departing Alexandria in mid-47 BCE, Julius Caesar headed north into Syria, determined to secure Rome's eastern provinces. While his Egyptian contingent remained modest, some sources suggest he led fewer than 10,000 men, These soldiers were battle-hardened from the Alexandrian War. Rumors of Pharnaces II of Pontus assembling an army of roughly 20,000 quickly reached Caesar. Pharnaces, son of Rome's old foe, Mithridates, had exploited the chaos of the civil war to reclaim territories once stripped from Pontus. After quelling local uprisings in Syria, Caesar marched eastward into Asia Minor, integrating auxiliary forces from loyal client rulers along the way. The two armies clashed near Zela, where Caesar's disciplined legions rapidly overwhelmed Pharnaces' numerically superior but less seasoned troops. In the aftermath, Caesar famously declared, "Veni, Vidi, Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered," capturing the swift nature of his triumph. During this time, Cleopatra, realizing her influence would grow by remaining close to Rome's power, sailed to Rome herself in 46 BCE, bringing her infant son, Caesarion. Her presence in the capital, living in Caesar's estate, caused whispers among the Senate and the Roman populace, foreshadowing a profound entanglement between the Republic and the Ptolemaic kingdom. After his victory over Pharnaces II in mid-47 BCE, Caesar secured Rome's eastern frontier. To finalize these gains, he marched across Asia Minor, reaffirming local alliances and reorganizing newly pacified territories. Crossing the Aegean, Caesar made a brief stop in Greece before sailing for Italy. Landing at Brundisium, he then traveled north, returning to Rome by the end of the year. There, he shifted focus to consolidating power and implementing broad reforms, setting the stage for the next decisive phase of his political career. If you found this overview of Caesar's path back to Rome insightful, like this video, subscribe to the channel for future episodes, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming explorations of ancient history.